All right, let's play this McIlvaine clip, and then we're going to have Bob up in the next big segment. Here he is talking about the next big move for the victims' family members. Go ahead.
My name is Bob McIlvaine. My son Bobby was murdered on September 11th, 2001 at the World Trade Center. Bobby was 26 years old. Today, March 1st, 2010, I delivered a petition to each of the 50 members of the New York City Council on behalf of 1,000 architects and engineers. This petition calls upon the City Council to open up an investigation into the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7, a 47-story building which was not hit by a plane, which nevertheless fell into its own footprint at 5:20 in the afternoon of September 11th. Help us make the City Council take action on the findings of scientists, architects, and engineers who have proven the federal government lied to us about the collapse of Building 7.
The collapse of World Trade Center 7 was primarily due to fires.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander. I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull. And then we watched the building collapse.
Please sign up at nyccan.org right now and join our coordinated effort to bring justice to my son and the thousands that were murdered on September 11th.
Folks, I get goosebumps every time I see something like that, and I literally have them. I don't know if they can zoom in with the document cam or whatnot, but that's why I'm in this thing. I'm in this thing because they did murder 3,000 plus American citizens in New York City at the World Trade Center at a site that was sacred ground to me. And not only that, they propagated 2 wars afterwards and created a police state here at home. All with an unsuspecting public that believed their propaganda, and some of them to this day buy into the propaganda and are willing to give their lives for a lie overseas. We got to step up to the plate. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior. We are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, and now we are joined by Bob McIlvaine, who is working with New York City CAN to try to get a new investigation into the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7. We played the video for you earlier. Bob, of course, is a victim's family member, lost his son at the World Trade Center. How are you this evening, Bob?
Good, Jason. How are you?
Very, very good. And Bob, you've been doing this for years now. You've literally traveled the country trying to get your story out there, trying to get a new investigation, an independent investigation into 9/11, and we have been sneered at and just ridiculed at every turn, yet you keep going on. Tell people about this latest effort.
Well, I don't know if anyone knew of, hopefully they did, New York City CAN. They were petitioning this people of Philadelphia, I'm from Philadelphia, of New York City, to have a new investigation into 9/11, and they were petitioning the people of the city. And with so many petitions, they were forced the referendum, and then with the referendum, hopefully the investigation will have to go on. But it just never went through. The judge ruled against it. And so this same group of people, which is a very small amount of people, they decided to go after the New York City councilman, which is, you know, I never get my hopes up, because so many times you get your hopes up and they normally come crashing down, and they are politicians. But in New York City, there's 51 council members in New York City, and they're not beholden to any corporate interest. They're allowed to, they have to gather public funds to be elected, to be nominated, so forth and so on. Then if they get the $80,000 of the city, will match that with another $80,000. So the most they can work with is $160,000. So again, we're not working with people that are beholden to corporate interests, which is very good. But we have to convince them of what we want. So what we're doing is that we're just trying to see each New York City councilman and discuss Tower 7. And it's a tower within New York that's never been investigated. And my thing is, when I speak to them, I certainly can't speak as a scientist or an architect. I can, in layman's terms, I could talk about the towers falling down and they're not supposed to fall down because of fire, so forth and so on. But my thing is, I'll first tell them that, geez, as a member or as a father, and I lost my son, we've never had an investigation. And it's certainly very easy to prove that there never has been an investigation about 9/11. Mm-hmm. But that's very globalized. So then we specifically, and I'll mention Tower 7, that Tower 7 wasn't hit by a plane, which I'm sure most of the councilmen don't even realize that, which is really a big deal. Mm-hmm. Geez, suddenly you have a tower coming down, it wasn't even hit by a plane. And then, therefore, then the scientists will come in, or the architect or engineer, whomever we might have with us, and then it'll go behind the science of it. And the science is very tough to argue. So, and the councilmen that we've seen, they sort of are wide-eyed about it, saying, geez, I didn't really realize this happened. And that's what has to be done. Mm-hmm. That this has to be, brought out to these people, and then hopefully from that, they take it beyond and say, hey, geez, I think we do need an investigation. So they've been all given petitions by, 1,000 architects and engineers have developed a petition to send to these people. And I put each petition into a mailbox, each one of the councilmen. So they have seen it, and they have some knowledge, hopefully, if they read it. So this is basically what we're doing.
And I'd like to tell my audience that there continues to be more evidence coming out that World Trade Center 7 was indeed a controlled demolition and that there is a vast cover-up about this fact. For instance, I'm not sure if you've seen this, but people over at Blogger put in their FOIAs, their Freedom of Information Act requests, regarding Barry Jennings and Michael Hess's interviews after they were blown up in Building 7. And they were responded to by NIST that, yes, these documents did exist, but lo and behold, they were exempt under the National Security Act. Go to New York City Can, NYC Can right now, and help out. We're going to come back with Bob McIlvaine. It's the Info Warrior.
Coming to you from another dimension. If you believe in redemption, I'm coming to you from another dimension. If you believe in redemption, I'm coming to you from another dimension. If you believe in redemption, I'm calling to you from another dimension.
We are back. It's the InfoWar with Jason Bermas. We are joined by Bob McIlvaine in his latest attempt with New York City Can, nyccan.org, to get the New York City Council to look at the 1,000 architects and engineers that are demanding a new investigation into Building 7. And while I was out on break, I was actually conversing via Facebook with William Rodriguez, the last man out of the towers. And, of course, Willie Rodriguez and his supervisor, Anthony Saltalamacchia, have both gone public saying that there were explosions in the basement level of the World Trade Center prior to the plane strike. We have this plethora of evidence, Bob. We've tried and tried and tried and tried again to get a fair shake, not only in an investigation, but by the mainstream media. And I wanted to discuss this ABC hit piece that aired this week. They do show you, and they do show family member Manny Badillo in the very beginning of it in a very short context of your speech, but they never mentioned that you're actually a family member, and they never did an in-depth interview with you. And of course, the rest of the piece is a hatchet job that tries to associate us with people that would go and randomly shoot guards at the Pentagon. Can I get your feelings on that?
Well, I really have to be careful, because I do have a lot of anger, mm-hmm. and it's important for me to have anger. I mean, I'm really angry at the American public. I'm certainly so angry at the media. But one thing I've learned, from the very beginning of this, the council we went through as family members in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Two sides of the coin. One is anger, the other is depression. So I'd rather be angry because it keeps me motivated. So mm-hmm. I never expect something positive to happen. And I remember Dylan really wanted me to interview with this guy, and he kept asking him, why are you talking to Dylan and Corey? Were asking, Corey. We're asking, well, why are you interviewing us? We're just two young guys that made a DVD. Mm-hmm. Why aren't you talking to the family members? Well, that gets me angry, but I just have to watch myself. So, the only thing I can say is there's tremendous anger, and mm-hmm. I don't know what to do. So I just have to take one day at a time and just do what I can. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. And not let myself get so upset. And that's the only way I can answer it, because I'm just as angry at the American public because they don't want to talk about it. You know, not necessarily the fear; they just can't believe that their government might have done something like that. And I'll certainly tell anyone. You know, in that little video they show, they didn't say the family member, but I'll gladly say to anyone, in my heart, I've investigated this for 8 years, 9 years. I've been doing this since the day Bobby died. In my heart, because of my investigation, because of the fact out there, I know. And it's important to say I know, because to believe there's some doubt in my mind, there'll be doubt in other people's mind. But I know what happened that day. And I know the United States was part of the orchestration and facilitation of 9/11. So in my heart, I know what happened. So if I can leave that legacy to my family, hey, so be it. I just can't force the issue. And if I try too hard to force the issue, then it just gets so frustrating, and then I start getting depressed.